we appeared to be not making an appearance. Okay, so first one of the week. Well, it's the David Jacobs Memorial Trolley, from which you've selected...
Well, if people are struggling, if they're doing dry January and are thinking of another non-alcoholic, try an Erdinger wheat beer, which is very, very delicious for a non-alcoholic one.
Erdinger.
It's an excellent choice. Erdinger.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. Very healthy, excellent suggestion. Today's confession comes from Christopher. Thank you very much for all the confessions that came in over the weekend. Smart speaker goes to Christopher. I think this would probably have... It's somewhere between a PG and a 12.
Oh, right, okay.
I would think. So we'll go through this at an appropriate pace. Father Simon and your merry band, I'm not sure if you can use this one, as it might scare the kids. But here we go. I'm sorry, not sorry at the same time. I've worked in the health service for a long time. We have quite a weird sense of humour amongst ourselves. This happened whilst I was working as a porter at a London hospital more than 20 years ago now. Part of my job was working in the mortuary.
Okay.
Out of hours.
Right.
Okay. Part of the job was to teach new porters how to prepare bodies, how to use the fridges, and how to make the recently departed ready for viewing, if that's the right phrase.
Yes, it is.
To use.
Yes.
As you can imagine, this was important work to get right, and we took it seriously. However, to cope with the stresses and strains the job provided, we developed our defence mechanism. This was, of course, our sense of humour, which, when used wisely, could be a useful release valve.
Yeah.
Sounds like an excuse. There is one particular moment that needs your audience's attention, and this illustrates everything I am trying to explain. There were 3 of us, porters, and now we had a new colleague on the way called Harry, and he was, we were told, quite full of himself. Quite cocky, quite confident about his, shall we say, limited abilities. The kind of guy who already seemed to know everything that we could tell him. You know the kind of person, I'm sure. So you need to put, when you come in, yeah, I know that, yeah. And then when you've done that thing, you just, yeah, I've seen it before. How annoying is it? We guessed this was bravado, so we decided to put him to the test. It went like this. 5 minutes from Harry coming on shift for the first time, I climbed onto the table. This is the table where the deceased were laid out upon arrival.
Okay.
Once I was on the table, my colleagues covered me with a sheet. All I had to do was to lie still, which is actually a lot harder than it sounds. I know you're ahead of me. When Harry arrived, I could hear him being shown around, and he sounded as arrogant as we had been warned. Yeah, I know, yes. I know all that. Yeah, easy. So then the moment of truth. They all assembled around the table, and I'm desperately trying not to laugh. But the outline of the sheet clearly indicates the departed is lying underneath. My colleague asks Harry if he's seen a dead body before. Of course he had, said Harry. No problem, said Harry. Right you are, said my colleagues, and pulled back the sheet. Now, I have to say, Father Simon, this wasn't the first time that we had done this. I was lying with my hands together across my chest, eyes closed. I counted to 5. I then opened my eyes and said, "Parting on the side, please." Well, my colleagues hooted, but Harry's noise was the loudest. He shrieked and howled like a banshee twice. I then sat up and said, "Cold in here, isn't it?" Well, Harry had seen enough and bolted for the toilets. He might have needed to change his clothing.
Yeah.
I think he yelled something like, "You rotters," as he ran. So I would like to ask for forgiveness for our warped sense of humour. But I have to say, I was not alone in this deed, because we all did it, and it was just our release valve, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Well, it's Christopher's tale, and we have been down this many, many years ago. We've been down this particular aisle before. I think it was some policemen who did this trick last time. But anyway, Sister Susie, what say you?
Well, Christopher, I do feel for you because you do work for the NHS, and I kind of want to forgive you on that reason alone. However, I would have been terrified, and I think that's a really horrible thing to do on that person's first day. He was probably already nervous enough, and maybe he was a bit cocky, but you didn't have to do that, did you? It's a bit mean. I would have been terrified of being in that room ever again on my own, so I can't forgive you.
I reckon Harry probably said afterwards, I knew it was you, and I could just tell.
Yeah.
Anyway, brother from another gutter.
I don't think anyone's going to be shedding any tears for Harry, really, are they? I mean, I certainly am not. I think we were all very much in Christopher's corner on this one. And also, frankly, if you're going for a job at the morgue, it's pretty much a given that it's on day one, you're going to be gathered around a body covered in the shroud. Shroud comes back and someone leaps up from it. It's just guaranteed to happen on day one. And frankly, Harry should have known it was coming. So definitely forgiven.